medicina me cura, es la medicina de todos, que mi medicina me cura, es la medicina de todos. Que mi medicina me cure, es la medicina de todos. Que mi medicina me cure, es la medicina de todos. Dios somos todos. Dios somos todos. Dios somos todos. Dios somos
In like 7 years, about I would say. So in those 7 years, definitely have lived in Colorado, moved from Chicago, and
Really? In Colorado, you say, huh?
yeah, I'm in Colorado, and I'm in the Rocky Mountains, so I'm like west of Denver, and it's so beautiful here. There's just a lot of nature and incredible communities, and I have put myself into community as a bilingual artist, dancer, and musician. And it's been really amazing to connect with many different people because in the town that I live, it's a creative district. And so there's a lot of creatives here that live and work for their passions and their crafts. And so I've done many murals around town. And one of the main things that I do is I have paired up and collaborate with Voices, which is a nonprofit organization out here, to bring voices to newly immigrant kids, and I help them to express themselves in a very, I would say, therapeutic way with art by visual journaling, and we speak a little bit about like their journeys and what they've experienced moving here to the United States, and some are challenging stories and experiences that they've had, and it just kind of points out a little bit of their resiliency and their strength and their courage, and giving them something to really integrate on, that they're powerful and amazing people, and kids, and young kids at least, trying to strive for that, but also giving them the opportunity and the openness that we're still in the United States, and there's still a lot of opportunities available here for them to pursue their dreams and their goals. And then besides that, I've done like other smaller projects like graphic designing. I've done exhibitions. I've also played music with several different bands, and rhythm as well. So I played djembe and played different African rhythms. And then with dancing, I've done Aspen Polynesia. The group is Aspen Polynesia, but I've danced Tahitian pretty much all throughout the valley here, the Roaring Fork Valley. So definitely all in the creative realm.
That is really interesting. I finally made it out of the southeast there in Georgia. I was there my whole life. And now I'm in Texas. Funny story though, because I also got married.
Oh, nice.
And my wife has a tattoo of this state on her hand because that's where she was at before. And so we get on the interstate and we drive west, and I've never been here before. I don't know where we're going. So we hit the Colorado River. I said, oh, it's the Colorado River, because I was already trying to get to Colorado before we even met. And then we take kind of go northwest, and then we wind up here, and the Colorado River's right around the corner there. You cross over the bridge and see the sign and all that before you get here. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is my stop before I head off there. And now we've got a whole plan for essentially purchasing land and building a different way or space or environment or what I don't know the right words. A colleague of mine called it freedom pockets. Essentially, to build a different space in which to finish raising her child, and then also we have another friend that has two little girls as well. Which and I'm coming into all of that, and prior to this, I never wanted kids, blah blah blah. But now I find myself in that role, and all I can do is think, how do I want my life to change and shift to, what environment would be conducive to my internal expansion, if you will, outward, and what's going to be healthy for me and my family now, because I went from last year was kind of weird when I reached out. At that time, my family had disappeared and they were being very weird. They all abandoned me. I didn't realize I was abandoned yet. And then they actually came and abandoned me. So we couldn't have done the podcast anyways. I had to go through a lot of stuff to get here. And it's so interesting because you just happen to be in the location where I was headed anyways. So that's where the hat came from. So I thought that was funny. So I did see a post yesterday or the day before, recently, on your Facebook, where I guess it's what you just said, and I was under the assumption that she's working as a teacher at the school now. But is that correct, or were you just there on an assignment to help them with the art?
It's more of
just
a
talk more about that, because I think it's so important for us as adults in this world today, especially in America, to realize how much everything that you said you're trying to instill within these kids or show them about themselves as adults, it's very hard to reclaim that power. If you even are able to see through the facade that, everything's just go to work, pay your taxes, don't cause any troubles because you can't fix anything. And that kills the spirit. So, tell me more about what you're doing.
So basically what I do is it's a residency. And because I work with voices, I'm the project coordinator of that's my role in the voices team. And basically we speak to teachers, ESL teachers from different schools, and we present to them this program. And this program can last anywhere between a week to 2 weeks. And so basically I go and, take 4 to 8 classes of the kids and the students and the teachers' time. And then we do a hero's journaling project. And so it's basically a little insertion, like a residency program, where we can do this project with the kids. And then at the end of it, have a celebration of learning to where the whole school, their parents, friends, whatever, can come and see the work that they've done. And it's really special because celebration of learning it's big. Like there's food, there's music, it's like a really big celebration, and the kids get to feel proud and also seen by community. And that's a really beautiful way to like really allow them to feel a part of something and a part of community.
That's the key word there, community. A few years back, me and some person I was with at the time, we were having the same type of conversation about the importance of community, and he said, "Yeah, it's the common unity between us that we got to stay connected to and with." You mentioned that were immigrants, so they're coming into the country. How does that work? Like their parents, I guess, immigrated here and they came with them, or is it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of immigrants coming into this country from Latin America and South America, and they're just migrating over here, and so some of them have crossed the river, some of them have taken trucks and cars, some of them have been kidnapped, some of them have walked, some of them have taken airplanes, all different kinds of experiences to get here to the United States. And a lot of the kids that experience these moves and also like sometimes tumultuous aspects of the journey, they're so young. So yeah, I mean, basically we talk about that sometimes, of like the good experiences of the move and then the bad experiences of the move, because there's both. But then we take a look at the bad experience and see how that has made us resilient and strong and brave in order to continue with life's adversities. Especially as a young kid like that, having to go through something really tragic, like families dying while on their journey.
Yeah, the question that pops up in my mind that I want to kind of bring whoever listens to this, I want to bring their attention to it, is the fact that these kids that you're talking about and their families and however they got here,
yeah,
they left where they were at for a reason. Now, I don't imagine that reason was to make their situation worse. And a lot of times I know that I have, like I shared last year, we couldn't have done the podcast anyways because I was forced by people, but mainly it was life transforming stuff. I had to go to a new location with half of the stuff that I was able to keep from the last time everything went wrong. And I went into this period of lack, if you will, not really feeling as if I had lost anything, knowing that I was gaining something more, even if I couldn't see it, and that I was going to be okay, that every time in the past that I can see the thread that life is, it has me on this river, if you will, and it's heading somewhere, and I can trust that. I do have to at times be brave and not just not go looking outside of myself for a lot of validation or direction. Just knowing that I kept sending you that picture of the sunflowers there. I mean, I'm adopting this little girl, so she's soon to be my daughter. But we planted those sunflowers. I planted one, and she wanted to plant 4 more in that little tiny pot. But they're the really big giant sunflowers, and I gotta get another pot. But I keep sending it to you because you messaged me like literally the day that it started coming out of the ground. It's barely out of the ground or out of the soil there, and I was like, no, this is perfect. This is what I expect from my star family. So I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older and so I'm maturing more, but I literally never wanted anything to do with kids because I saw all of the people that I went to high school with, and this and that. They all had kids, probably way too early, and they were all just miserable, and their kids made me not want to be around them, and all of this and that. And the situation that upended me from my home, Everything that I was doing for myself kind of got uprooted and taken away last year. But it was really a clearing because I had a lot of toxic things around me that had been in my life for almost all of my life that I knew nothing about. And essentially, what it is my father, who adopted me right when I was born. He married into the family in October of '89, and then I was born that December. And my mother passed away when I was very young, 13 months old. And my grandmother wanted to put me up for adoption because I wasn't as white as everybody else and whatever. And he stepped in and said, no, he's my son. And he legally adopted me. And he said to her, if you want to stay married, you're going to give him a good life because I watched you make this mess, now this and that. And I look back at that and say, wow, he had no reason to do this for me, but he did it because it was the right thing to do. And he was in a position to do something. Well, he died 2018, in February of 2018, right before we met for the first time there. And then again, and then I bought your painting, everything else. All of this happened all at that time. And so now, 7 years later, the stuff that happened last year with my family mainly came about because I found the adoption papers and all of the other paperwork and all basically 30 years of a plan to steal everything that he was gonna have me in the will for. Even though there's a will, when he died, nobody called to tell me he died. And I came back, well, what did he leave me? He didn't leave me anything. But there was a lot, and they took it all and they locked it up in a trust. And it's a whole process. I've got all of everything I need to rectify the situation, and there's no rush for it. But I can look back and see how last year was more about getting me out of that environment that I did not know I was in, before the next step could come on. And what's the next step? I'm in Texas on my way to Colorado one day, and now there's this little girl, and she needs help. She needs protection from some forces that she can't fight herself, and that her mother can't fight alone. And now I'm in a key position to do exactly what my father did for me. And it's just funny how everything goes full circle. But the more that I do this, the more I see that all the issues that maybe I complain about or talk about in my music or ramble on about, we can talk until we're blue in the face about what's wrong with the world. But I became a lot more interested back right at 2020 in what's the solution more so than what are the problems, and the solution is for us humans to maybe see from a perspective of like where you're coming from. Why are you doing it? How did you get into doing this? Because these are, as you said, they're so young and they've already been through so much, and now they're in an environment where everything can shift. And I feel like what you're saying is that you're helping to facilitate them seeing that their value and their worth, and that life's not done with them yet.
Yeah, and just that their stories are valuable. And also, in a way, when they're expressing it, to validate their stories as community. In the Hopi tribes, they get together if a kid does something wrong or something happens, right? They put him in the middle of a circle, and the whole community is there to support that person, that child, to express themselves freely and to be seen, and then allow that validation to heal, to be the medicine, right? And so, yes, there's what I'm really grateful for is that being with the Star family, especially with Chief Golden Light Eagle, that brought so much medicine to everyone that the arts, creativity, music, it's a bridge towards unity, harmony, peace, expansion. And also it's a source, God's source. And so to be able to bring that to these youth that have not really quite experienced art even, a lot of kids that grow up in third world countries, as they call them, which sometimes it's not even third world countries. They're beautiful. Like Honduras is beautiful, but it's known as a third world country. Like the arts are not seen as something important and not a success, not a very lucrative career. And in my experience and in my life, like I had to go through a lot of those hardships of like the starving artist mentality. You're not going to make it as an artist. And I pushed so hard to go to art college because I knew that was my passion. And even in high school, like I would be so into it, and the teachers would be really like, oh, like she's actually pretty good.
Kind of like you were reminding them why they became an art teacher. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so like what I do is like I first of all, like I consider myself a muse. And so to bring the magic that I have cultivated and nurtured and like really integrated within myself, I want them to see that this is possible. And so when I go into the schools, I actually do a PowerPoint about me and like all the things that I do and the things that I have accomplished to give them that inspiration that it's possible, especially in the arts, because there are a lot of kids that are like, I want to be an artist. I want to be a musician. I want to be a dancer. But then they get shut down by teachers, by their parents, by community, social peer.
All my life I had to fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so there's that stigma, which is like the arts are the most important thing actually on this earth because everything is art. And it's just important to be able to illuminate that and continue to push the truth that anyone can be in the creative realm and be successful. And I have made it to where I am successful in my business with art. And now I'm like passing it down to youth. And like,
well, that's why, I was like this and that. And I love this painting and nobody else bought it because it's mine and money's tight, but I'm going to give you this much for it and everything else because I am glad that you did that because I'll never forget. I walked in that morning. We got there the night before. I walked in that morning. The first thing I saw was your painting with the hawk, the owl, sun and moon thing. And it's like, wow. Before that moment, I had never seen a painting before in my life. I had looked at, canvases that people did something to, but that moment, it's like my internal eye opened up and then I could see. And your art did that for me. And now I've got paintings of my own here, but they all mean something to me. I'm not, nowhere near. That's not really my forte, but it's definitely been a grounding point for me because the title of the episode that we were going to do 5 years ago, and then again this time last year, now we're finally doing it, was discussing the fact that essentially art, whatever medium, is the language of the soul. It's the way that our internal spirit person, if you will, communicates with all of life. I think you see that through the beauty of I don't know, maybe a flower or something like a sunflower. Like life did that. It painted that picture in reality. And there's a book that I came across, and I just want to mention it, and people can go and look it up. It's by William Henry. I don't know if you got the book. If it's sent, I meant to send it to you a year ago. I don't know if you got a chance to read it or not, but it doesn't matter. I just want to share it with everybody else because it's something that, as a result of an artist, the guy who inspired me to start rapping, Decca, he's originally from Colorado. It's called The Language of the Birds, and I found this because he put out an album called Snakes and Birds, right when I was putting out a song that had a picture of a hawk with a snake around. You know, it's like, what is this? Let me look up, and I found this book. And it says, the language of the birds is one of the several names given to the secret hermetic language of esotericism. Since at least the Dark Ages, and I don't mean the 1980s, an idea has existed that there was once a language or a particular word which perfectly expressed the nature of things. This language was called the language of the birds. It is well known by scholars in the field of linguistics that Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden spoke of mysterious primordial language, and that this language, symbolized by the apple, provided immense power and abundance to humanity. It is believed that all humanity shared this common language. It was the great unifier, similar to the way the English word "and" becomes. We got to the point. You get my point.
Yeah.
And I think that language is definitely art. I was explaining this with my family here. I was working on a song yesterday, and telling them, "Yeah, I gotta record the podcast. This and that. I'm really excited to do this." With who? The painter of those paintings that y'all are so mesmerized by. And art, language of the soul, the same way that y'all felt the way that this song feels, even though there's no words yet. That's, you know, I'm proud of you. I really am. I didn't expect anything less, but I'm proud of you for going from where you were at. And I don't know all the details of where you were at when we first crossed paths, but I caught the message from the paintings that not just that I need to support your stuff, but I need this painting here with me. And I want for you to know the value of what you're doing, because if nobody else tells you, I'll definitely tell you. If something deeply speaks to me in that way, I go out of my way to make sure that the creator of it, if I have access to them, knows that I appreciate that. It's so funny because I used that painting as my main universal backdrop. I created other art around the concept, and both pictures are paintings. One of them has two birds in it. You know, the first one I got, and then the second one, what's it got there in the tree? Just a little one. And then the other painting that you showed me, the one with the little bluebird. So, you know, maybe somebody listening should go and find that book. It's online. If it's not, if you can't find it, hit me up. I'll send it to you because I'm a pirate. But it's just such a beautiful thing to see that, as dark and twisted as the world can get and is in a lot of ways, that there are all of that beauty. I just call it the beauty. The beauty of life is still thriving out there. If you don't believe me, you know, just hold your breath and till you gotta take another one. We're running out of time, it looks like.
Nope.
I've got 10 more minutes. Do you have 10 more minutes?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. An example of me sharing that appreciation is because I myself am an artist, and most of my life, nobody has paid any attention to my art except to tell me, "Hey, you need to tone it down. You're just this and that, and don't do that." Blah 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 blah. And I've learned to just kind of tune that out, and that's good, but it's also bad because it makes it to where when my now wife first contacted me, it sent me a request through social media, and I delete those all the time because I'm like, I don't know you. I didn't delete this one for 3 days, and then one day I was just like, hold on, it's time. It's like a little voice said, it's time to ask this person. And I sent her a message, said, I don't know who you are, this and that, but apparently we need to talk, so let's talk. And so now here I am, and everything else. But the thing that got her attention that I even existed was my Facebook posts, my rants, and no, it was my music that, in her words, got her through one of the rougher periods. And to hear that as an artist makes me think, wow, it really, I've got a song. Is it worth it? ? And it starts off with, me saying the devil's always asking me in my ear, like, is it worth it, all this and that, and just all the, yeah, it is. Not because now I got a wife and family, but because my music did what it was designed to do. It reached out to somebody in a rough spot and said, hey, I've been through this too, and I came through it. And don't lose hope. Don't put out that light, and don't lose your ability to connect or continue speaking that language.
I'm going to read you this quote that a friend of mine sent me. Well, he actually had it in his poetry book, and I was like, "Ooh, can I take a picture of that?" Because I really resonate with that. And it's by Jorge Luis Borges. Do you know him?
I do not.
Okay. But the quote is, a writer, and I believe generally all persons, must think that whatever happens to him or her is a resource. All things have been given to us for a purpose, and an artist must feel this more intensely. All that happens to us, including our humiliations, our misfortunes, our embarrassments, all is given to us as raw material, as clay, so that we may shape our art. And to like go even further with that, it's, as an artist, yeah, we're our hardest critics, and we definitely have judgments about like whether we finish an art project or start a new one, or like how it looks and fix this, fix that. But
I might know a thing or two about that. I might have had to force myself into rapping to.
But if there's like one person that like takes a look at your artistry and gets inspired and moved and touched, then you've done your job. And it's also fuel for like, oh, I got to keep going. I got to keep doing this. And so I get that a lot from children and like people like you as well, that like really resonate with the art and just like create that. Yeah, it gives me that confidence, that grounding that, okay, what I'm doing is helping people, like supporting.
It's interesting because very early on with my music that I have out now, I've done music my entire life. My father taught me how to play the guitar. He didn't play the guitar, but he played the pedal steel guitar, so he knew music enough to teach me how to teach myself.
Well,
and I, of course, wanted to immediately do the Jimi Hendrix thing, but he wouldn't teach me that because he didn't know how, but he did teach me the techniques and the chords and everything else, and it's like, wow, I have something that a lot of people don't have now, because he didn't let me take any shortcuts, basically. And when I started out, it was a month after the first album released, and this artist who makes they make instrumentals from all the way in the UK found my music, heard my music, liked my music, found my contact information, sent me a new creation of theirs and said, I found your stuff and really liked it. It's right, just what I needed. I made this and this is yours for free. You can use it or not use it. If you want to use it, let me know and I'll send you the licensing. And they did. But I never spoke to them again. But that picked me up right when I was feeling like, oh no, what have I done? I got to delete all this bad stuff I've done. Shortly after, my main hawk image that I use for logo, somebody on TikTok found my catalog, listened to the whole thing, and they drew up a whole bunch of art, and they were like, I just want just put my name in the credits or whatever, but I wanted you to have this because I'm glad that I had your art to help me. And that's really my religion, is that at the end of the day we're all just walking each other home. How can people that listen to this, because again, I put this out, the whole podcast thing, because I think conversations like these random conversations with strangers that I don't really know, but that I do know, this and that, and it just kind of flows. I think that's important to show to people too, that, we do share in this common unity. So how can people find your art? And maybe they want to commission it and make you even more visible for others. I know that I do, like with my media company. If I ever figure that out, I built it to bring people like you and others to the forefront, whereas other enterprises out there are doing whatever they're doing. I think we can render them kind of obsolete if we are able to connect and resonate with what matters.
Definitely. So I'm in the works right now of developing, creating a website, and it's going to be gemart.studio. And I'm offering creative mentorship at this point. So if anybody's looking to really dive deeper into their creativity, connect with it more, I give mentorship in art, music, and dance. So it could be like all three, and it could be just one, but I'm offering that to all ages. At the moment, right now, the most active platform that I have with my art is on Instagram, and that is ONE, spell out the number 1, ONE_gem art. And you can find me there and find all the things that I'm doing. I also have Facebook, and you can click on my bio site in the Instagram profile to get to my Facebook. And then in my bio site, you'll also see all the offerings that I have for kids camps. I'm doing a mural camp this year for the 3rd year in a row, where I have like 10 students and we do a mural in town together. I also do songwriting classes and jam classes, camps. And yeah, I have a lot of offerings for people to really get in touch with their creative side, their right brain. And then, yeah, if anybody wants to email me for any commissions, you're more than welcome to. It's artistgema, GEMA@gmail.com. And you can contact me there for any opportunities that you like to have in your life, whether it's murals, graphic design, custom work. I kind of do a lot.
I have one last question, just out of sheer curiosity. Yeah. Feel free to share or not share. Your middle initial is E.
Yes.
And so Gabriela E. And I don't know how to pronounce your last name because I'm American. But your last name is
Mejia.
Now, what does the E stand for? That was my question.
Elizabeth.
Well, I deeply appreciate you reaching out to me after all this time. So I'm ready to. That made me be like, wow, I matter. I'm doing something valuable. We're gonna. And then I saw the sunflower. So
yeah.
I'm going to put all this together and try to get it out on the 13th. I'll send you links and everything else. And if you go to omniversalmedia.llc, I know a guy that does website stuff for free for the right people. If you need any help, you should talk.
Sounds great.
omniversalmedia.llc.
I will check that out.
Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.